an agenda against Paul. He's a great professional. He's got a heart of gold.
You know, we tried to hook a big one, but he got away.
For me to be sat here now is a dream come true for me.
We're going to start with an update this morning. Bruno Fernandes will have impressed Manchester United fans by scoring against Liverpool for Lisbon last night. But Sky Sports report this morning that they have been told he is not a priority target for the club. They believe those rumours have been coming from Portugal, not Manchester United, and the interest has been totally overstated, of course. Sensible talk like that is something we are not interested in this morning on Deal or No Deal, so we're going to skip past that. Now, Paulo Dybala has been upgraded from highly speculative to just speculative on our legitimacy racing. Marca report that he's told Juve he wants out. Manchester United are in the mix. He's been linked with Paris Saint-Germain, and Spurs have made contact with Juventus about potentially signing the player. He's on the move, lads. Where is he going?
Go on, John. Is he going to Spurs?
Possibly. I get the sense Spurs might be willing to spend a bit of money, whether it's on Lo Celso or Sessegnon or Dybala. But if he comes in behind Harry Kane, then what happens to Son? What happens to Lucas Moura? Does that mean Eriksen's on his way? I get the sense that Eriksen might be on his way if they're going to cash in for 70 million. Man United apparently interested. I think with the year left in his contract, he doesn't want to stay at Tottenham, and I think they probably will sell Eriksen. That could then deliver the funds. But they've already smashed their record on Ndombele, 65 million. So Tottenham are now beginning to realise that they have to start spending money, and if they want to remain where they have been, which is in Champions League spots in the elite.
For sure.
I think in theory Dybala is a fantastic signing for Spurs because he could play over on the right hand side of their attack, you know, still have Harry Kane spearheading it and have Dybala cutting in from that side, a bit like we did for Juventus on their really good run in the Champions League a couple of years ago. Obviously it's big money. We were kind of half dismissing the idea Manchester United would sign him the other day at 90 million. 70 probably sounds a little bit more realistic. It's interesting whether Eriksen is going to have takers, John. That's the only one thing.
Well, I don't think he's going to have the takers in Spain, but he could have. Like Manchester United are a club to me that let's just spend a load of money and solve our immediate problems and get the heat off the ownership of the club.
And I think Juventus might be keen to sell because I think their plan has been very clear, which is we have Cristiano Ronaldo for 2 to 3 years. We need to create a team around Cristiano Ronaldo that can now win the Champions League. And they obviously brought in a lot of free transfers, but they're going to be on big wages, the likes of Rabiot, Aaron Ramsey. Even though they got them for free, are going to be expensive contracts. They're also going to eat up the cost on them. And I'd imagine if they could free up a bit of cash, it might make sense if they can get a good bid for Dybala to let him go, because they've just spent the 75 million on Matthijs de Ligt as well.
So Everton could be primed to derail Arsenal's summer plans. Sky report that Everton will hold talks with Crystal Palace's Zaha this week in an attempt to hijack that deal. Munich are also reported to be interested. What impact will he make at Goodison, and where does this leave Arsenal? Like, okay, let me just start this off.
You can answer the first
This is, first of all, a metaphor of the absolute down-the-drain direction that Arsenal is going. If Everton beat them, pipped them to the post in a signing, what a humiliation that would be.
He's not going to go to Everton. He's not going to go to Everton.
What about, this is a serious situation, John, where Everton are actually going toe-to-toe financially with Arsenal.
Everton have no European football. Zaha, I believe, is an Arsenal fan. Are they going to spend 80 million? Everton's going to spend 80 million?
It's not that ridiculous a prospect anymore. This is my point.
Yeah, that's
going to Everton over Arsenal isn't ludicrous.
Well, look, we're back to the 1970 season, aren't we? When Everton won the league. Yeah, I'm sorry, Owen. Sorry for your troubles.
No, there's nothing you can say, John, to make up for this. The only thing that can make up for this is Arsenal going out and signing Wilfried Zaha. And I don't even care how good or bad he is. It's just making a point to Everton that you don't deserve to be.
They'll probably have to sell the stadium to sign Wilfried Zaha.
They should.
They'll have to, like, I don't know, rebrand it the Owen Sheehan Stadium and
knock down the Highbury apartments and build a stadium there, and then sell the Emirates and build apartments there instead, and just reverse, turn, rewind on.
I agree with John. I can't see Zaha pushing to try and get a move to Everton. I think he would push to try and get a move to Arsenal, which changes the goalpost slightly. But like, obviously, there's been a change in the background at Arsenal in recent seasons, and they've now got, you know, some of the guys who were at Barcelona who used to negotiate the type of deals that were a few million up front, and here's some targets that can be met along the way. I think Crystal Palace were insulted by that about the Zaha bids more than anything else. Same with Celtic with Kieran Tierney. You know, in theory, Arsenal should have been able to just go out and get both players this summer.
Yeah, for sure. Right, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, he's ruled out re-signing Barcelona's Brazil midfielder Philippe Coutinho, who left Anfield for £142 million in 2018. Let's not get bogged down about whether or not this would have been a good signing or a bad signing for Liverpool, because we've spoken about this. Is this indicative of perhaps the summer as a whole, and Liverpool perhaps falling further behind Manchester City?
Well, Jurgen Klopp has kind of come out and said they're going to be sensible in the transfer market. He doesn't feel that they've got the money to blow teams out of the water when it comes to signings, so he's going to try and make functional signings. I can understand not wanting Philippe Coutinho back. I think Coutinho either ends up now at PSG as part of an exchange with Neymar, or he ends up having another season at Barcelona. He was extremely disappointing last year, and I think the deal they were talking about Liverpool potentially with him being loaned back for a year with an obligation to buy in year 2. I'm not sure if that exactly would appeal to Liverpool either for Philippe Coutinho. So I think the prodigal son won't be coming back to Anfield now at this stage. And I think that's actually a good idea by Liverpool. I think they've improved as a team since he's left.
What do you think, John, in terms of Liverpool's summer as a whole? Very quiet.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. They won a European Cup through the sale of Coutinho by signing Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. So you don't necessarily have to. You have a state. If you've got we even saw when Tottenham brought it to extremes last season when they didn't sign anybody for 2 windows, but they had a very stable, unified team. I don't know whether Lucas Moura will feel that way now anymore, but. Liverpool look extremely united. Saw the likes of Wijnaldum coming on in the second part of the season. So you don't have to just spend 150 million just because other clubs are doing it. You don't necessarily mean you're going to fall behind. So I don't think you never go back. And
you talk too much sense for deal or no deal.
Yeah,
you want hot takes.
Wait until we get to Mino Raiola. But I think the one thing I saw, I think it probably is a good point. Are Liverpool going to get 97 points next season? Probably not.
That's the thing.
Man City probably won't, though.
Yeah, they'll get 98, yeah.
Right, we do want to just touch one more time on Christian Eriksen, because we do want to know what he can do if he was in this Manchester United team right now. To what extent does he fix what's going on? To what extent does he improve them? As a Spurs fan, you know what he can do to a team. And I mean, there is a chance that he does walk out the exit door this summer. If he walks into Manchester United, what does he do for that team?
Well, I don't know if Pogba's leaving Man United. That's the first thing. Eriksen is brilliant. He's a brilliant vision as a footballer. He's able to pick a pass and he's able to find players in gaps. So his vision is unbelievable. He can put balls on plates for people. He can also score goals, as we saw at Lansdowne Road. The one issue I have with him is that he disappears in matches at times. And he's not the physically strongest. He's kind of a willowy player. So there's positives and negatives about him. I don't see him as a Barcelona, Real Madrid player, and I don't think those clubs see him either. He's just below the top level. But he's had enough at Tottenham, and I'm disappointed to see him go. But if he doesn't want to be there, and then Dembele, who looks exciting, and Lo Celso or Dybala, whoever comes in, you have to let him go, get the money in rather than going on a free. So he could be useful for Manchester United, but Will would know better because he's of a red hue.
Is that true?
Nah. But I think the whole trick that for Christian Eriksen on this one is that the boat was missed for him for Spain once Real Madrid reinforced their attack, got Hazard. That meant they weren't going to sign Hazard and Eriksen in the one window. Hazard's going to drift into that area too. Like Barcelona, once they got Griezmann, were never going to have an interest in Christian Eriksen. If United get him, I think if they're going to play Eriksen, you have to play Rashford or Martial through the middle. They got to get rid of Lukaku. Eriksen, no point if you have Lukaku up front.
So Crystal Palace and big spenders Aston Villa are interested in signing Republic of Ireland's under-19 striker Jonathan Afolabi, who left Southampton at the end of the season. Will, where do you want to see him next season? Yeah,
I mean, obviously staying around the Premier League would be a good move for him. There's a few guys in that under-19 team who I think will have caught the eye, particularly during the recent European Championships as well. We just need to get Irish players into the Premier League. I'm delighted Conor Hourihane signed a new contract recently to stay at Aston Villa as well. Was kind of worried that Villa might cash in because they've been spending so much money this summer. So I think Villa would be a good move. I think Villa are actually putting together a decent squad.
Good stuff. John, Marca reported there is tension between Barcelona's decision makers and its academy La Masia after 16-year-old viral star Xavi Simons moved to PSG. It was his agent's demands who unbalanced the negotiations, the newspaper reports, adding that the academy staff are unhappy to see him go. Now, super agent Mino Raiola has negotiated a deal which will see the Dutch youngster, who is tipped for the top and already has almost 2 million Instagram followers, go to Paris. He's expected to earn significantly more than the 200,000 euro annual wage offered by Barcelona. Is this a shrewd move by Paris Saint-Germain? How much is too much to pay for a 16-year-old? And has Raiola put an exclamation point on his position as transfer window winner? A lot there.
I'm just my head in my hands when I'm seeing this kind of stuff. To me, it's the negative side of football, and you've got a young kid, he's 16 years of age, he's been there since he was 7. There's something that makes me feel really uncomfortable about that. I know, okay, he could be destined for stardom. I know Messi was at Newell's Old Boys or wherever he was when he was very young and brought into the Barca Academy, but I read on Forbes that Mino Raiola made $63 million in commissions out of transfers, and you wonder how much of a Pope master dynamic is going on here, whether it be De Ligt or Paul Pogba, and it makes me really uncomfortable about the power of agents in the game, and they have too much power, and I think that it's too much of a free market, if you ask me.
Like, Raiola's been at war with Barca really since probably since Zlatan, and obviously he's decided to engineer this move. Apparently he got something like 20 million out of the De Ligt move to Juventus as
Ridiculous money. He's making big money. That's why he is the title of our Deal or No Deal slot. Thanks a million, lads. We're back at 7:30 tomorrow morning here on OTB AM. Off the Ball, live on your radio from 7 o'clock tonight. Bye-bye for now.
OTB AM.
Brought to you by Avantcard Reward Plus Credit Card.